As I was making videos for this channel, as I swapped from making guides to covering the lore, I always knew that 500,000 subscribers would be possible to achieve. It's a number which channels can get to even if they focus on one specific thing, and thus their audience is limited. But in order to get something like 1 million subscribers, channels usually have to branch out to do different things. So when it comes to me and my view on this, I really don't think anything beyond 500,000 is possible with a lore channel. So now, we are reaching the impossible. Quite some time ago, I promised that when we reach 500,000 subscribers, I will tell the story of what really happened to me while I was at Riot HQ. Now, if you are working at Riot and you are afraid I'm going to start some drama, don't worry, nothing serious happened. I am just going to explain why I may have been acting a little bit weird while I was there. And in fact, deep in my heart, I kinda hope that some of the creators who were there with me will watch this video, because this will reveal quite a lot of context. But at the same time, I am aware that I am going to reveal something which the vast majority of people would take with them to their graves. So, without further ado, and before I make up my mind, let's go back to the one time I was at the Riot headquarters. It was the year 2017. League of Legends just got Kayn as the newest champion, Ornn was right behind the corner, we finally got the new rune system, and when it came to lore, we still didn't even have a proper map. Still, despite the lore of League of Legends not being as popular as it is now, back then we freshly passed 200,000 subscribers. And as if to celebrate that, I got an email from Riot Games saying that I was invited to that year's Creator Lab. Now, back then, every year, Riot shipped a bunch of creators to the YouTube Creator Space, where these creators would collab on a video. That's what the Creator Lab was about. It gave you a chance to meet all the other creators and get better at making videos at the same time. However, for me personally, when it came to this opportunity, I didn't really care about making videos or even seeing Riot HQ as much as I just wanted to meet the other creators. Back then, I released like 2 collabs with Foxdrop, I made a video with Red Riot, and I sent Mundi like 3 messages. Simply said, when it came to contacts with other YouTubers, I really had nothing. And that was despite me wanting to get in contact with the other creators. Honestly, I didn't know how to even get in contact with someone. Or rather, I had no idea how I would start a new conversation. Not that this part of me would change to this day. I am happy to report I am still kinda lonely on YouTube. Granted, back then I wasn't the funniest nor the most interesting person on earth, given the fact that all I did was reporting nerdy things happening around League. So I wasn't really the best person to collab with for funny League montages, which is the kind of League videos that were popular then. So overall, after getting this email from Riot, you can understand why I was so excited to meet everyone. Now, after accepting the offer and agreeing to go, the nervousness really settled in. On top of this being the first time I would actually get to meet other creators, before this the last time I traveled anywhere by a plane was about 10 years ago. This was also the first time I would travel anywhere alone. And out of all the places to travel alone to, for a lonely boy who happily lived in his European bubble, this was also the first time I would travel across the oceans to the US. So although this was once in a lifetime opportunity, my courage was certainly tested. But to calm me down minutes before I would pass through the airport gates, my future wife gave me a plushie we called Mr. Hoofy, who traveled with me. Needless to say, throughout everything we went through, Mr. Hoofy survived the trip. Also, on top of Mr. Hoofy, whenever I travel to a gaming related place, I always take my traveling meep with me. So if you ever see a guy with a meep attached to his belt, that would be me. Anyway, thankfully I knew that Kiandi was going to the event as well, so having at least one tiny contact did help calm me down. Now, my goal was to get from Prague to Paris, where our flights would meet, and from there we would get to LA together. Fortunately, as I was waiting for my plane in Prague, I was approached by a person who recognized me. At first I thought that it was a fan of mine, which was weird because no one ever recognizes me in the outside world. But then I learned that this person was also going to the event. I am purposefully not revealing who this person was, because of what is about to come later in the story. You'll understand. Anyway, knowing that I wasn't alone, I finally fully calmed down, and the two of us got to Paris. There, in an extremely long line of people, ahead of us we saw Kiendy. But funnily enough, back then I almost never showed my face on camera, and I used Flanders for my profile picture on Twitter, so Kiendy didn't even know what I looked like. Regardless, somehow we did meet, and out of all the people, Chibin traveled with him. So that was the second face I knew. After this, the four of us got through the rest of the airport with Kiendy leading us. In fact, Kiendy was the one who got us through all the airport security, he showed us where to go, but he also got us a taxi and he made them go to the right address. If Kiendy wasn't there to do all of that, I would probably be on the airport to this day. Also, I am pretty sure he paid for the taxi and I didn't even get to pay him my half, so technically I owe him like $7. Also, as we were leaving the LA airport, after we got through the security, I remember I said something which came out extremely racist. When Kiendy asked me what took me so long, I told him, quite loudly, so other people probably heard it too, there was a Chinese family in front of me. By which I wanted to point out that they had a lot of family members. However, that didn't come out right, and I wouldn't realize that until much later. Anyway, finally we were at our hotel. There I learned that I would have a room with the person who flew here with me, and after we threw our luggage in our room, we went down to the lobby, where I finally got to meet some of the people who were already there. Here I vividly remember one thing. I walked up to the group of people sitting in the lobby, and I told them that I was Necrit, the lore guy, in hopes that someone would know who I was. And instantly, Jeremy from Gaming Curious stood up and hugged me. This felt great. Because even though I knew most of the people there, nobody knew me. And I don't blame them. Being the only person on YouTube covering the lore of League of Legends, I was definitely isolated from everyone else. I did make League videos just like everyone else, but mine were so different, it felt like I was covering a totally different game. So seeing one person stand up and recognize me, especially when it was a person with a channel far bigger than mine, felt amazing. After this, everyone hung around in the hotel lobby restaurant, more people joined in, they ordered food and talked about whatever came to their minds. Hopefully everyone shown here will be fine with me posting a couple of pictures. But for me, since this was the first time I was personally talking to other people who also did YouTube, it was amazing. And I will never forget the atmosphere of a group of people who were excited about the same thing. I rarely go to conventions, so I never get to be in such groups of amazing people. Anyway, here comes the crucial point of the story. While we were traveling here, the food on the airplane was fine. That was if you ordered the right thing. You see, everyone was smart enough to order chicken and potatoes, but I had some weird pasta with olives. So during that 10-hour flight, I didn't eat much. Obviously, that means that by the time we got to the restaurant, I was hungry. But since this would be my first American food, considering the fact that I didn't even know how it would taste, or what would be in it, you know, because different countries use vastly different spices, or if I would even like it, I decided to settle for a simple meal which surely couldn't go wrong. Other people got pizzas or decently looking pasta, but I ordered the soup. I find it funny I even decided to take a picture of it, for this decision would haunt me for the rest of my stay. That night, the soup was fine. It was a beef stew with meatballs. It didn't exactly sate me, but the point was to get something lighter, and at that, it did succeed. The next morning we had amazing breakfast, Musley helped me make a typical British tea, and in a bit of a rush, we jumped onto a really fancy bus and headed to the YouTube space. Here I need to point out that whenever I am in a rush, no matter the circumstances, for reasons really unknown to me, no matter what I do with myself, I always have horrible breath. I personally don't notice it, but I know it's a thing. So in case the other creators are watching this, and you were nearby, if this was the case, I am truly sorry. Regardless, we got to the YouTube space, where we got our personalized shirts and some gifts. And here I did another thing that would haunt me to this day, really. You remember how excited I was to just talk to the other creators and just be part of what everyone does? It turns out, I think I accidentally kept ruining Magikarp's shots whenever he was recording something for his vlog. Like, for example, if you go back to his vlog, you may see that he's showing people the gifts we got. After he shows the notebook to the camera, he looks to the side and then the scene cuts. That's because that's the moment when I walked in and I was like, actually, it's not that rare. Every creator who meets a writer gets this. God damn it. Similar things happened later too. And I know it's just a tiny stupid thing, but to this day, it still gets me anxious. So Matt, if my assumptions are right, and if I did ruin your shots, I'm sorry, I was just a bit too excited. Anyway, after we got our gifts and shirts, we took the pictures. And here you can see death slowly approaching. I know I'm not the prettiest person in general, but here, it's a window into what's about to come. I should also mention that the YouTube space had free coffee stand there. And of course, I couldn't pass on some good iced coffee. Needless to say, that's when my body's function started to lean in unexpected directions. But at that point, I was still oblivious to what was happening. After this, Riot set us down in a small lecture room, where they split us into teams. I ended up in a team with Darkmane, Lizzie, Queen Bee, myself and Eric from Papushi. But be wary, this picture is fake. I have my flash on D. After this, the YouTube staff got us all together, and they showed us how to work with cameras, lighting and microphones. I have to say, to this day, I really appreciate that, because it really helped me with my future content. But then, after we all became pros at camera work, it was time to get together with our team and make a glorious video. Thankfully, my team was awesome. It was really fun working with them, because while everyone was super creative, they all brought in a different kind of creativity, given the fact that they all made different videos. Also, some of them were memes, while others were yet to become memes. In general, the first day we were just putting together ideas. And there we decided we would make a parody announcement video for League of Legends 2, the sequel. But as we were working on the video, something deep within me stirred, something slumbering, waiting for its opportunity to strike. Moments later, my guts started a war which they couldn't win. The soup was simply too powerful, and so I had to sprint to the nearest cleansing station to get it out of me. This process repeated many times that day, and no matter what I did, I just couldn't stop pooping. And you know what's the worst thing about this? Riot prepared us the best snacks for free. I mean, it wasn't like I couldn't afford snacks myself, but there were free Cheetos and Red Bulls and cheeseburgers everywhere. And I just couldn't take any of it, because I knew my guts wouldn't appreciate it. On top of that, my pooping wasn't the quietest either, and it took all my effort to silence it. So to this day, I have no idea if anyone heard that. Also, on social media, Riot posted a picture showing to the public eye that the League creators assembled. But you may notice that I'm nowhere to be seen. And that's because when they were taking this picture for their social media, I was pooping. And they didn't notice I wasn't there. And after that, they even took a picture with all the Rioters and the rest of the staff to make sure everyone was there. So you may imagine my expression when I got out of the pooping throne and checked Twitter. Here I want to let everyone know that I am not blaming anyone for anything. It's not like it was their job to make sure that everyone was in a picture. Shit happens, literally. Anyway, after we were done working for the day, big shout out to Lizzie. She was a champion. And because the different teams left the place on their own, she got us an Uber to get us back to the hotel. It doesn't sound like anything major, but if it wasn't for her, I would legitimately have no idea how to get back. And without roaming data on my phone, I wouldn't even have a way. So we got back, we talked a bit with the other creators in the lobby, and we went to bed. However, it wasn't exactly a peaceful night for me. My guts were still at war. A war for which I would pay the ultimate price. I can't believe I am publicly saying this, but I have never shat myself. Until that night. You see, everything was fine, as long as I could consciously and forcefully control my body. However, when you fall asleep, those rules suddenly don't apply. I really don't want to go into details, but it was a shit show through and through. I lost a nice pair of underwear, and God bless the person who was cleaning the next day. Next morning, I was very picky about what I had for breakfast. I thought that maybe the previous morning I just overdid it with bacon. So this time I just had some pastry, but even that was too much. And just like the previous day, throughout our work, every hour or so I had to mysteriously leave. Here I have to say that I still had a blast working on our video collab. Lizzie was awesome at organizing us. I was there mainly for ideas. Really, maybe some camera work. Eric was our main actor. Queen Bee was a great comedic asset. And Darkmane carried us hard with editing. Also, I had a scene where I was talking about lore in the bathroom. Because, you know, nobody cares about lore. And that was the joke. And that's where these amazing pictures came from. I am so photogenic. Regardless, our team was led by two riders. Tiza and Bunny. Rabbit. Snow Bunny? Little hair. I feel horrible because I don't know her Riot tag. It had to do something with a bunny, rabbit or a hare. But she was amazing because she knew I wasn't feeling well. And she even got me some vitamins. Unfortunately, nothing helped. And so, I decided to not eat anything. It didn't matter that Riot got us free burgers and pizza. My will to survive was iron. And so, I only ate teeny tiny bits. Just enough sustenance to survive and not have any problems. So, I powered through my inner war, and our team worked hard. I remember at one point, I covered myself in blankets and sat down in a beanbag, watching other creators record some shots. Then I fell asleep, and I woke up when everyone left and got their burgers. Needless to say, the combination of jet lag and me not feeling well was interesting. Also, I remember I wanted to chat with the entire female creator group, but the only one I knew at the time was Lily. And right as I came to her to say hi, one of the teams needed a complete silence for their shot. So we awkwardly silently shook hands, and that was my only ever interaction with Lily Pichu. Anyway, after that, I got back to work, and we finished our video just a little over midnight. Then we got back to the hotel, where it was the last night to really have fun with people before everyone left. So, on top of the great chatty atmosphere, this was when we recorded the slightly awkward snack tasting video for my second channel. After which, a miracle happened. Don Huap approached me, and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna order some McDonald's. Do you want something?" At this point, I hadn't eaten anything for like 16 hours. So I was like, sure, just a cheeseburger and small fries. And after eating it, while my body refused to digest dishes with foreign ingredients, McDonald's it knew well. And so, as if it was a blessing from gods, my body accepted food without any major issues. So Don Huap, you may not know it, but your McDonald's literally saved me. Also, I believe I owe you like $5 for it. Regardless, I am in your debt. Also, literally. Funnily enough, when I got back to our room, happy that I'm finally feeling better, my roommate, the mysterious one I didn't want to mention just to be safe, confessed he barfed. And so, here we were. Two Czech boys paying the price of only being used to eating slough food. And so came the final morning. This time I ate decently, and everything was within acceptable limits. First, all the creators got to the YouTube space, where we had a small party. Here I tasted a truly horrible beer, just because I wanted to try something new. I got everyone to sign me a poster, which I have on my wall to this day. I got the rioters to sign my Gentleman Nar. It was awesome to see my video being played on the big screen there, but most importantly, I had an amazing time with Chibin, as we were trying to win some stress balls. Then, all of us traveled to Riot HQ, where a former rioter, Leo Carvalho, who is now working for Epic Games, got me a personal tour of the lore building at Riot. There I met Jarrett, the writer behind masterpieces such as Fiddlesticks or Viego, but I also met Graham McNeil, who's responsible for the Darkin, or even Matt Dunn, who I believe worked on the original Nasus and Renekton lore. And honestly, I kinda wish I was feeling better while I was there, because I was kinda amazed by meeting everyone, and I didn't really say much. If I got to meet everyone again now, I would definitely chat more about the lore. Also, hopefully it is fine to mention it now, considering the fact that all of it was already released, but I got to see the Rise cinematic, the Varus music video, and the Pentakill music video in their early stages. And honestly, it was killing me knowing what would come for Varus while not being able to tell anyone. Here's the thing though, Even though I really loved every second of seeing the offices where the lore was being written, the entire rest of the creator group got a separate tour of the HQ together, which meant that I felt a bit isolated from everyone else. And this made me slightly sad, because I wanted to be with them too. But since our time was limited, I had to pick what I wanted to do there. So unfortunately, I didn't see the amazing places such as the esports arena, and I wasn't able to play at the arcade with everyone else. But at least I did see Mordekaiser kick Teemo months before everyone else. Also, depending on your perspective, funnily enough, while I was at the offices, the entire creator group took another picture to celebrate a proposal which happened during this event. And you guessed it, I wasn't there either. So technically, if I didn't tell people that I was there, no one would actually know. By a pure chance, I missed every single group picture. At the end of the day, our two tours merged, we all got to see the videos the teams made, we had a little chat about our experience, and that was it. The following morning, everyone went home. But not before the final nail of this story was struck. As people went back into their rooms to get their luggage, I noticed that Matt was walking with me, and he opened the door right next to ours. Because it turned out, his room was right next to our bathroom. So every night, I prayed the walls were soundproof. Overall, I really loved this experience. And I'm sad Riot has never done anything like that again. That was the last year they had done it. It threw me so far beyond my comfort zone that it really changed me into a much stronger person. I couldn't thank Riot enough for this. But I am a bit sad that I was still quite the introvert while I was there. The only person I could comfortably chat with was Chibin. I was nervous around everyone else. And I didn't even find the courage to talk to the other amazing people such as Pokey or Panzer Dragon. So hopefully, one day I'll get the chance. Unfortunately, I wasn't drawn out of the massive pool of people to get to the League 10 anniversary, which was a shame because I still want to meet other creators above anything else. It's because I don't really have a lot of ways to talk to people who do similar things to me. So here's wishful thinking for the 15th anniversary. And if anyone ever meets me again, just stop me from getting soups. Also, just know that if my breath is awful, I am trying to deal with it. And for future events, I'll be calmer. Because now I know Mr. Hoofy's family will be waiting for me.